All right, welcome to season 2 of the Word of Mouth podcast. If you're just joining us at this point, I highly recommend you go back and listen to season 1 because it's really a build up to this point, but you could jump in from here too. It's all good. My name is Rob. My nickname is Mouth. I spent 22 years in the Navy. I learned a ton of lessons. A lot of those were the hard way, and a ton of those lessons were because of my struggles with alcohol. In 22 years, I was arrested and put in the Navy brig. I was arrested and jailed three times, three total, 2 times in civilian jail. I went to 6 disciplinary review boards, 2 captain's mass, which are like going to court in the Navy. And as successful as my career was, at times it looked like a dumpster rolling down the side of a mountain on fire. So I had a just series of ups and downs and then now that I'm out and I've had time to look back to a lot of treatment, a lot of counseling, a lot of help, I'm realizing that behavior wasn't just isolated to the military. That behavior goes all the way back to when I was a kid, right? Being an addict since I was born. I'll be an addict till the day I die, right? But what I found now in retirement from the military and couple years off the sauce is that I can be addicted to good things. I can be addicted to showing up to my granddaughter and grandson's events, showing up to my nieces and nephews' events. I can do better things with my life, with my addiction, right? I can turn that nuclear power engine that I used to put towards sneaking, lying, hiding, and drinking, I can put that towards doing stuff like this podcast, writing a book, going to the kids' events, being a meaningful part of their life and being part of the solution and not part of the problem. For a lot of you that are listening that are struggling with drugs or alcohol, if you really dive deep and you think about it, you've been part of the problem, right? And I hate being part of the problem. I hate knowing that people are expending time discussing how to help me. Like, I want to be the one spending time discussing how to help others. But the thing about the people in your families and your friend circles that are the people pleasers, you all have them. It might be your sister or brother or your mom or a friend. Is they will wear themselves into exhaustion, literally into a psych ward, helping everybody in their life except for themselves. And they will put everything ahead of them. They will respond to every crisis, every request for help. And what I've realized is my ability to do that was nothing more than me running away from my problems, keeping myself occupied and busy in service of other things than sitting still with my own discomfort and figuring out why is it that I can't sit down and watch a 20-minute comedy stand-up show on Netflix without having to get up and go do something. And if you have that same little internal motor that I have, which most of the guys I worked with for 2 decades do, it's a hard thing to figure out what to do with that still, quiet time and not fill it with a bunch of random stuff just to keep you busy and make the time go by. But you get that in retirement because, as I talked about in season 1, that dark cloud of medical hit list and awards and evaluations and meetings and, all the things that are just swirling around military people all the time. Your suicide NKO, your alcohol GMT, like the list goes on. And then you get out, that cloud, it disappears and it creates a lot of still quiet time for you that you never had before. And for me, I never had as an adult. I came in the Navy when I was 18 years old. And so at 41 years old, I retired from the Navy. Or 40 years old, I retired from the Navy. That's the first time in my life that I've had to sit still with nothing to do. No deployment to get ready for, no trip to pack for, no trip to unpack from, travel claims to do for the trip I just came off of, or the orders for the one I'm going on. It's just gone. It's all gone. I call it the quiet, right? And hopefully all of you can find something positive to do with the quiet. That's what I've tried to do, right? That's why this podcast is here, and I'm pumping these episodes out, working on my book, doing things, being involved with my nieces and nephew and the kids' lives, because those are positive things I can do with my time now. And while season 1 might have been a lot of doom and gloom as far as alcohol and some pretty funny but tragic stories, season 2 is going to take a totally different turn, because now we're going to talk about the good things. The next episode I'm going to put up here is a pre-record. It's called Beautiful Moments. It's a story about how the ballet just swept me away in a way that it never had before when I was drinking. And then when I went out to my nephew's baseball game and my niece's lacrosse game, another episode I'll put is called Welling Up with Pride. It like stopped me in my tracks, put a tear in my eye. Those things didn't happen when I was drunk. I was numb to the world. I lived in Coronado, California, and San Diego for 3 years, and it wasn't till the third year that I lived there for 6 years, but it wasn't till the third year that I even realized they decorated Orange Street for Christmas. Because the first 2 years I was there, I was drunk all the time. I would go to Coronado all the time. Shit, almost every weekend at times. But I never looked around. I never appreciated. I was just walking from bar to bar. 2 years I lived there, going down to Coronado every weekend, and before I ever even noticed that they decorated for Christmas. Like, that's, but on that third year I noticed, because I wasn't drinking. I was like, wow, I love Christmas time. I love Christmas decorations. Like, that's one of my favorite times of the year. So how did I miss that, right? Like, how did I miss an entire street from the San Diego Bay ferry landing all the way to the Navy base of Christmas decorations 2 years in a row? That's because I was drunk and I didn't care. I wasn't looking around. I was just floating through life, going from the drink that I just finished to the next drink that I was going to get, or to Night and Day Cafe to get some food and a lift to go home, right, and pass out, and then get up and do it again the next day. And it's awful that we live like that, man. It's awful that we live in these beautiful places. Navy guys, come on, dude. All you Navy boys out there, Navy girls. Think all the places we've been. I've been to 32 countries in my Navy career. Most sailors have. Most sailors have been to tons of countries. And most sailors can tell you they got hammered the whole time and didn't take. There are people that don't. There are people that go out and do the sightseeing, the cultural stuff. But I think the vast majority of people just find the first place to drink and get hammered the whole time and piss away their chance to go see the Colosseum, in Rome. And I did get to do some stuff, like I really enjoyed Rome and seeing where all the popes are buried at the Vatican, and seeing the Parthenon and walking the streets, seeing the Colosseum. It was really neat. I did do a lot of great things in my career, right? I just could have done a lot more if alcohol wasn't robbing me. So season 2 is a call out to anybody who's listening to this show. Come on and tell me your beautiful moment story. Whether you're 1 minute sober, 1 day sober, 1 week sober. God, I hope you reach out to me if you're 1 minute, 1 day, 1 week sober. Let me help you stay strong. My number is 619-600-9018. Drop me a text. Put a comment. Hit me up. Let me help you get to that 30-day mark so things can start looking a little more clear for you. Let's get that fog out of the way, right? That 30-day fog can do a lot for your planning your future. And so all you got to do, if you want to tell your story, is pull out your phone, record a 10-minute or less audio clip, text it to me, and then a picture that you would like to use, and tell your beautiful moment story about when you got sober and you started to notice and appreciate things in your life. And what I'll do is I'll start it off with 2 beautiful moment stories that I have. Beautiful moments and welling up with pride. And then I'll see you back on episode 4.